Well, hello everyone. I decided that I wanted to do something like this for a while because I have been working on a giant project as of late. Like, it's more than I can normally take. Don't worry, I plan to get it out before the year is over, but it's been taking me a while. So I thought, why don't we do some video gamey stuff for now? And don't worry, I plan to get to it. Bleh. What the fuck is wrong with me? So, I've been playing a lot of RPGs as of recently. In fact, I completed one recently, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm not going to spoil the game because the game's not here, but needless to say, it would be an S tier if it was on here. There are a lot of games on here. I haven't played all of them as much. I haven't played all of them. I do plan to play most of them. Actually, let me put it in this pink. Wants to play. But there are a lot of RPGs I want to play. Okay, so let's get started. I haven't played much of Breath of Fire. I should probably get to that. I heard good things. Bug Fables. This is an A tier. Bug Fables is very creative. I really enjoy the combat. It feels like the sequel to Paper Mario that isn't Paper Mario after Thousand Year Door, if that makes any sense. I love all the characters. Kaboo is my favorite. The world feels lived in by these bugs. I love the story. It's just a phenomenal game. But I wouldn't say it surpasses Thousand Year Door, but it gets very close to it, like really close. Chrono Trigger is an S tier. Chrono Trigger is timeless, pun intended. All of its characters, phenomenal. All the stories they have, phenomenal. The combat system, phenomenal. The time travel, phenomenal. I usually roll my eyes at time travel most of the time. There are a few exceptions like Back to the Future, but Chrono Trigger is one of the few that actually makes me not roll my eyes at the time travel. It's very well handled. I haven't played Chrono Cross. I know it got a re-release or a remaster or whatever recently. I will try it out, but right now I'm fine with Chrono Trigger as it is. Deltarune. I'm gonna put this is gonna, let's just say this is both chapter 1 and chapter 2. It's an A. I wouldn't say Deltarune surpasses Undertale, but it gets really close. It has better humor and slightly better characters. Well, I would say slightly because, I don't know, I quite enjoy the new cast of characters a little bit more. The combat system's really good, and the bosses are really fun. But I don't think how do I word this? The chapter system kind of not makes me want to put it in S tier because it's not a complete game as of yet, but also Susie kind of not my thing. But overall, it's still a great game, and they're both free to play on Steam. Like they're both free to play. Um, Actually, let's put Breath of Fire on this. I have interest in it. Haven't played a single Dragon Quest game. Fire Emblem. I played Awakening. That game was great. I feel like what I can say about Fire Emblem Awakening can be said in other videos. It is the revival of it. It basically revived Fire Emblem, and without that, would have had one of my favorite games of all time, which is Three Houses. Yeah, Three Houses is fantastic. One of my favorite gaming OSTs. One of my favorite strategy games of all time. One of my favorite cast of characters. A fantastic story. I know people say it's unfinished, but I don't think whether a game is finished or not should dictate if it's great or not. That's personally my opinion. And Fire Emblem Three Houses, ever since I played it, I was like, this is probably my favorite game of 2019. But then there were a few contenders that year, and I really had to think about it. Let's just put this here. I do have the first Fire Emblem. I just haven't played much of it yet. Or, yeah, actually, I do have the first Fire Emblem. I think these are it. These are I want to play. Actually, let's just put all the Fire Emblem games on here. I want to try this series out more. Okay. Final Fantasy X gets the A. I feel like saying what's your favorite Final Fantasy dictates on how you feel about it. Well, that's not the right way to word it. It's on your personal experience with the Final Fantasy. Let me put this. I have a hard time explaining how I feel about Final Fantasy at the moment. Like, there are minute things. Like, 2 is so far my least favorite because the latter half is kind of bullshit at times with one-hit KO moves, or if they don't kill you, you get every status ailment. Here's 15 is great. It's just unfinished. It's just 15's great. It just feels a little short. Final Fantasy 1, it's the first game. It's a little too easy. Final Fantasy 3, it's the best of the NES trilogy, but the Crystal Tower sucks. Final Fantasy 4, it's a better version of 2, but it has the party switching problem that I don't like. Final Fantasy 5, it's phenomenal. It's one of the best ones actually. Final Fantasy 6, actually no 6, 6. Yeah. Final Fantasy 5, phenomenal. Final Fantasy 7 is phenomenal as well. Great cast of characters, great battle system. There's a reason that this is a classic. Final Fantasy 9, phenomenal as well. Second favorite cast of characters in the series so far. Final Fantasy 8, and that's a C tier. No, it's not as bad as 2. It's C tier, and the battle system doesn't do it for me. I like the cast of characters in the story, but that's about it. 7 Remake, I used to put in S tier, but now it's like a, yeah, it's a low A tier right at the moment. I don't like, it would be an S tier, but I thought about the ending more and more, and I don't like it at all. It feels like a fan fiction ending, and I don't like that. I'm going to put these Final Fantasies in here. I have been playing 14, but Realm Reborn sucks so much that I literally don't want to play it at the moment. 7 Remake is great. If the ending was a bit better, I would have put it in S tier, but at the moment, it's A tier. Golden Sun, I have both the GBA games. I do want to play the series. I played like 10 minutes of the GBA one, but that's not enough. Kingdom Hearts, oh boy, Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 1 gets B. It's better than these two things, obviously. Actually, yeah, that's about it. Kingdom Hearts 1 is a proof of concept game to me. It has honestly, probably the best skills list. I wish they gave you more points to experiment with it, but it's still a good one. Like, it gets close to, from what people have told me, kind of like God Hand, but I haven't played God Hand yet. I like most of the Disney World, Atlantica and Tarzan's world. I think it's called the Jungle. I don't like. Oh, I also don't like. Also, not a huge fan of Hollow Bastion. The combat's simplistic, but I don't mind that. Some of the bosses I'm not big on. Ursula is not a particular favorite. And the final boss is kinda not good. Like like any boss with the flying controls just don't do it for me. Like they could have just used another button to alternate alternate the view, not the view. Yeah, alternate the axes, if that makes sense. But it just doesn't work. I don't hate Kingdom Hearts 1, it's just a bit dated. Kingdom Hearts 2 is a high A tier. Everything with this game is great. I don't hate the beginning like most people. I actually really like it. What makes it not S tier is that I don't like 3 worlds. Atlantica is a shitty minigame, rhythm minigame. Pirates of the Caribbean has janky level progression, annoying fights, and the worst boss battles in the series. And yeah. and Lion King World, I forgot what it's called. Pride Lands, yeah, Pride Lands. Pride Lands is annoying. I hate controlling Sora in that area. The controls just don't work for Lion King, and the bosses are annoying, like really annoying, like to the point where like you could just win by spamming Simba's limit. But other than that, it's fantastic. Some of my favorite boss fights are in this game. I'm still trying to beat Lingering Will, but each time I feel like I'm learning more and more about it. Marluxia is probably my favorite, though Saix is up there as well. What else? Who else is great in that game? Oh, Sephiroth is fantastic in Kingdom Hearts 2. People who are Kingdom Hearts fans who are watching this are gonna kill me, but Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite. Kingdom Hearts 3 has finality to it, and I love that about it. I think it has the overall best Disney worlds in the game series. Like, there's not that many compared to others, but there's only one bad one I could say, and I've been replaying Kingdom Hearts 3 as of recently. Arendelle is not as bad as people say it is, in my opinion. Like, yeah, the randomly showing up song numbers are kind of annoying, and I don't like the bosses that much, but I like every other world. Like Pirates of the Caribbean world, it feels like a Kingdom Hearts Wind Waker, if that's the best way to describe it. San Francisco is basically just GTA without the guns. I think my favorite world is Monsters Incorporated world because it feels like Actually, both the Pixar worlds in this game are fantastic. They feel like continuations of the movies, or from one of the movies of Toy Story. Oh, hold on, I forgot to put Chrono Cross there. But no, I love Kingdom Hearts 3. It's probably my favorite, and Jeb's either not watching this or people talk about this, and he's gonna kill me for this. Kingdom Hearts 3 5A over 2 days is, let's see, it's high C. Kingdom Hearts 3 5A over 2 days feels jank, if that makes sense. The level progression kinda sucks in this game, and just revisiting just old Disney worlds from the first game, just no. And some of the bosses are not good. I do like the story though. It makes you feel for these cast of characters. And while the progression's not bad, it's still the it makes the KH1 and 2 combat, if that makes sense. But other than that, it's just an okay game to me. I know it's a contender for the worst game, but I personally don't see it. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. And it's high B. Some mechanics don't feel as fleshed out as they should be, and some moves are better than others, basically asking you to spam Mind Square and Thunder Surge, basically. But I love the characters. Aqua's still contender for contender for favorite character in the series, next to Axel and Sora. I do like the worlds. The Lilo and Stitch world's probably my favorite because Lilo and Stitch is my favorite Disney movie. But it's just a watered down Kingdom Hearts 2, and I don't see a problem with that. And the Birth by Sleep has one really bad boss, but a really fantastic boss as well. Like Jesus Christ, No Heart. I love No Heart. Dream Drop Distance right there. Yeah. Dream Drop Distance. Is it better than Birth by Sleep? It has a better. No, it's better. Actually, there. Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance has some better parts. Takes the melding system and put it at its finest, but the story is no, just I don't like the story. It deals with this is when Kingdom Hearts started to deal with time travel, and it does it the worst out of all these games that deal out of all the games and media that I've seen with time travel. Like, just adding time travel just doesn't make your story good at all, or like justify most of the things in them. I think the combat gets repetitive because same thing with like Birth by Sleep. I think it's a little worse than Birth by Sleep. That's right. In Dream Justice, with like you can use a certain amount of moves because you can only use one move and you win the game. It's called Balloonra. Like not even the upgraded Balloonga is better. Balloonra is just the superior one. And the fuck what's it called? It's where you bounce off the wall. Fuck. I forgot what it's called, but like you can just spam that over and over again and you can win as well. But I don't feel bored with it. Like maybe over time it'll be a high C or a low B tier game, but overall I still enjoy Dream Drop Distance. Recoded. I fucking hate Recoded. It's contender for worst. It might be my worst Kingdom Hearts game in my opinion. And yes, I know Rechain of Memories is right there. Actually, Rechain of Memories is not that bad. You get used to the card system, but it's just a boring game. Whereas Recoded is a game that like just doesn't do it. Each mini game is boring and lifeless. It's basically it was them trying to remake Kingdom Hearts 1 for the DS because they take the same worlds from Kingdom Hearts 1 and put it in the game. And I don't mind that idea, like games that try to beat Kingdom Hearts 1 again, but like remade for Lost Sizzle, because Chain of Memories was that as well, and Dream Drop Distance was planned to be. But they add things that just don't work. That's all the Kingdom Hearts games. I want to play Live a Live. Mario Luigi. All the games are basically the same. It's just dependent on how you feel about the combat. Mario Luigi, Star Saga is a B tier for me. Partners in Time, that's a high B actually. Partners in Time gets way too much hate. I'll just say that. I don't get the hate for Partners in Time. Other than Inside Story, it's the best one. Everyone knows it's the best one. Dream Team is a close second for me. I'm probably one of the few people who actually really likes Paper Jam. I don't know. That. And yeah, that should do it. Okay, Earthbound. I have not played. I have played Mother. It's not good. It's a downgrade Earthbound, and Earthbound is low B. The combat doesn't do it for me, and I like the wacky humor, but it's not really all that memorable to me. And I know there's diehard fans for Earthbound, but Mother 3 is just one of the best RPGs ever made. Mother 3, it refines the combat, makes it more fun, and the story, oh god, the story. Mother 3 is one of the few games to have ever made me cry. Like, really hard. I love it so much. I haven't played Ni no Kuni, but I'm interested in it. I'm interested in Omuri, I think that's what it's called, Omuri. I've only played base Persona 3, so let's just say 3 FPS is base Persona 3 for the moment. It's a low B. I think Persona 4 took the social link system ruins it for me, and Tartarus is like Mementos but worse. And you can't really control your characters that much in combat. But I like the story. It is still the Persona gameplay, so that's why it's a low B. Whereas Persona 4, I'm going to use Golden for this, is high A. Like, yeah, high A. Favorite cast of characters. Teddy is my boy, and if you diss Teddy, you diss me. I love Teddy way too much. Really fun bosses. Really, really, really good story. But I don't like the whole swapping rooms thing. That never really did it for me. I just play the game for the story and for the combat, but I don't play it for going through dungeons. I want to play Persona Q and Q2. I played both Persona 5 Persona 5 Royal, but I consider Royal the best version. And Royal's on my... Oh, shit. There we go. Royal is one of my favorites. Yeah, right there. Persona 5 Royal has my second favorite cast of characters. I love almost all the characters except for except for Morgana. I love the dungeons, I love the bosses. The combat is at its peak. The story's great. All the stuff outside the world is great, and the new stuff they added in Royal made the game fantastic. I still wouldn't put it in my top 10, but it's in my top 50 games of all time. Same with most of the S tiers. Okay. I want to play Persona 5 Strikers. Paper Mario. Oh boy. Paper Mario 1. Low B tier game. I felt the combat felt a little too slow paced for me. And yeah. Thousand Year Door. It's the S tier. That's an S tier. Thousand Year Door has the most personality in any Mario game, and some really fun mechanics. Like the partners is like Paper Mario 1. I think it's kind of dated a bit. Thousand Year Door doesn't feel dated in the slightest, if that makes any sense. Super Paper Mario. Actually, let me add the Paper Mario games in one spot. Here we go. Super Paper Mario is another low B tier. It's a good game. It's just a platformer with RPG elements. And some of those, in some moments, puzzle moments don't really do it for me. Sticker Star is an F tier. It is a contender for my least favorite game of all time. And if you play Paper Mario Sticker Star, I don't think I need to ask you why. Color Splash is a high C. It's C tier. It's okay. Fine battle mechanics. Good humor. A bland world. Not really. Origami King is an A tier. Yeah, A tier. Origami King felt like a refreshing taste of how Mario RPGs can be in the current day. I love the battle mechanics. I love the world. I love the characters. I love the new people you meet who become your partners. It's a really engaging game, and it didn't feel bland to me. It felt like they are trying their hardest to be creative with like the strict limitations that Nintendo pushed on them. I still want to say any Mario RPG is like in my top 50 games, but they're pretty fun ones, except for Diarrhea, the Diarrhea Star. Pokemon. Okay, so I'll use Pokemon Blue as an example, Silver as an example. Actually, no, we'll use Crystal. Emerald, Platinum, Black, Black 2, X, Sun, Ultra Sun, Sword. No, not Sword, Shield. Shield. And yeah, that's it. Okay. I don't like Pokemon Blue. Pokemon Blue is not fun. It is the most grindy Pokemon game of all time. It says something when your starter Squirtle can't beat a level 14 Onix from Brock's gym. That's all I have to say. Crystal is high D. I've never been a big fan of Gen 2, and it has more personality. It feels a little less grindy than Gen 1. That's all I have to say. Emerald is a B tier. Emerald's when the Pokemon series started getting really good, and lots of memorable Pokemon, a really good story, fun battles. A Platinum, A tier. If it was a little more faster, I would put it in S tier. But if it was a little more faster, I would dethrone Pokemon Black. Actually, yeah, no, yeah, right there. I love Pokemon Black. Best story, best villain, best characters. And the fact that you only have new Pokemon as your teammates and no returning Pokemon make the world for me. Like, that alone makes it one of my favorite games. Black 2, it's, yeah, it's about there. Wait. There. Yeah, about there. Black 2 is a continuation of Black, and I still really love it. It's just that some of the new gyms they added don't do it for me. Pokemon X, B tier. Pokemon X is a good game. The main problem is its difficulty. It feels like it wasn't made for EXP share. Now then, for Sun and Ultra, for the 7th gen, here's how I see it. It's either you like it's either you want the better story, or you want the better content. I personally prefer the better story or the content. Now, Ultra Sun isn't bad. I really like Ultra Sun. I like Ultra Sun. And Pokemon Sun, I feel like gets a lot of hate because it feels refreshing to try to mix up the formula with the trials and stuff. And I really like the Alola region. Right there. I'd probably, I prefer Ultra Sun over Emerald. And Pokemon Shield is a C tier. Like, yeah, about, no, high C tier. The game gets way too much shit. Yeah, it feels bland, but like it's not offensive. It's still the same Pokemon thing. I will say that Shield feels like the game that was made for the EXP share. I haven't played Phantasy Star Online already. Phantasy Star. I have Mario RPG, but I haven't played it yet. I have the South Park games. I want to play like Charles Stick of Truth, but that's it. And I have Tales of Symphonia. The server I'm in is gonna hate me for this, but it's a C tier. Like, yeah, C tier. That's okay. Combat was a little too slow paced. Good characters, engaging story. But I don't like the bosses. It's a C tier. I haven't played the Borderlands with you guys, but I want to. Undertale. Actually, look at the remaining games in here. Undertale I played. I'm almost done with Xenogears. And Xenoblade is all that's left. Okay, wait. Oh, shoot. There we go. Undertale. One of my favorite games. Yeah, right there. Undertale, I want to say redefined the RPG genre, but it changed it up in a huge way. The idea to choose not to kill your enemies, brilliant, and the choice to kill them, also brilliant. And it's not like the game forgets that you save them or kill them, because it dictates which route you're gonna get. The soundtrack is a banger in Undertale. Like, I'm pretty sure that you don't like Undertale, but you love the soundtrack. But, no, Undertale is a masterpiece and is worthy of its praise. Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is a high A tier. Like, right there, yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is a fantastic game. It had... I'm trying not to spoil it. Um, there is a certain character halfway through that gets introduced halfway through the game, and I am not huge on them, and they are probably the worst character. Not the worst character, but they're the weakest character in the game. And I don't like Satori Marsh in the Bionis interior as areas. But I love the story, and I love the combat, even though it's a little simplistic. And even in Definitive Edition, there's like a bunch of life improvements that make it better. Like Definitive Edition might have Kingdom Hearts 2 for a run, give Kingdom Hearts 2 a run for its money, but no, not at the moment. Xenoblade X is B. It's oh, right there, yeah. Xenoblade X, its focus is on exploration more so than characters and story. I don't mind that, but when the exploration is boring and it's required to progress through the game, I think that's not gonna make the players engage with the game all that much. The combat, it's definitely the hardest Xenoblade game, with a really low level cap, and it's the most skill-based Xenoblade game, taking the OG's battle system and like advancing it to make it more skill-based. I do like the world of Xenoblade X a lot, and the soundtrack's great, but I'm not gonna come back to it anytime soon. In fact, maybe on later playthroughs it might be a C tier. Oh boy. Xenoblade 2 is my favorite RPG of all time. Xenoblade 2 has my favorite soundtrack of all time, my favorite world of all time, my favorite cast of characters of all time, my favorite combat system of all time. I just love Xenoblade 2. Xenoblade 2 is a game that when I first played it, I knew it was something special. Then when Torna the Golden Country came out, I knew it was one of my favorite games of all time. Then during 2020, I replayed it. And then that's when everything started to click with me. Xenoblade 2 has a shit tutorial, I will say that. But once you learn how the battle system works, it clicks in your mind, and it's endlessly replayable. On my Switch, I have over 999 hours in it, just from speedrunning bosses. It is that engaging. I love Xenoblade 2, and if Xenoblade 3 was on here, it'd probably be tied for Xenoblade 2 for favorite Xenoblade game. And Torna, it's not on here, but it would be A tier next to Xenoblade 1. Even though I would, yeah. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. I do want to try Xenosaga as well. So that's it. I don't really have an outro for this. Just enjoy your day, and I'll see you for my big project.